to be a part of this lecture this evening. This is our fourth program of the 2019 Sawtooth Forum and Lecture Series. The adventure starts here. Sponsored by the Sawtooth Interpretive and Historical Association. I'm Stuart Wilder, president of the association, and this is Lisa.
My name is Liesl Tanner, and I'm the treasurer, also the model for this evening.
So let me begin first by thanking our primary sponsors for this year's Forum and Lecture Series. We have Redfish Lake Lodge and the McCall family, in memory of Roland McCall, who was an avid FLS attendee and a steward to the Sawtooths. So thank you to both. CHA is a member-based, not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Our mission is to protect and advance the natural and cultural history of Idaho Sawtooth Salmon River country through preservation and education. Our programs are funded by book and map sales at our sales outlets, donations, grants, and memberships. We hope that if you like our program, our programs, which we have many, you'll consider supporting us by making a donation with our new dip jar over here on the table, or in our donation cash jar tonight. Or we'd certainly like you all to become a member of the organization. Membership does have its advantages with CHA. Would any of you who are currently members of CHA please raise your hand? I want to thank you all for your support. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
And I'm just doing song and dance. So I want to tell you about some other things in addition to memberships and sales in the museum. If you haven't been in there, we got lots of books and stuff like that. We also have a couple of different things. We have this adventure pack drawing. Last year we did a telescope raffle to promote night sky, but we're promoting adventure this year. So we've got this Gregory 28 pack and Fisher trekking poles and a solar light and purifier and maps and information and all sorts. It's about a $500 value, and it could be yours if you're lucky for $5 a ticket, or we have 5 chances to win for 5. And I happen to have little ticket stubs here, so if anybody's interested in that, I'll connect with you. And the other thing we have, a couple people's feet are on it, and you walked along this wonderful path, so you can actually become part of history at the museum by purchasing one of these bricks, and we'll install it here. And the funding for that is going to do upgrades at the museum here. Our primary goal right now is to build a replica of Clerk's Cabin, which is a historic building that was on site, and that when it's all finished, it'll look authentic on the outside and provide housing for some of our naturalists that work at both Redfish Center and here at the museum in the summertime. So great causes, and we'd love to have your involvement. And just so we don't stay too long here, because Dan has got like this whole team of introducers. Patrick Soloviev is going to introduce Dan, but Nancy Feldman's going to come up and talk a little bit about the Selway Bitterroot, because they helped us find our speaker, which is also part of the Idaho Centennial Trail, and that's the subject of tonight's lecture and adventure. And you'll be hearing Dan. You might have seen Dan or heard him on newspapers or videos that you do and stuff like that. So thank you all for coming, and it's great to have you here. So Nancy, you want to just say a little something about Selway Bitterroot?
I saw somebody came in with the Selway Bitterroot shirt. Is anybody familiar here besides Margaret with the Selway Bitterroot Frank Church Foundation? Similar to CHA, Selway Bitterroot Frank Church Foundation partners with the U.S. Forest Service to provide trail maintenance in the Selway Bitterroot and Frank Wilderness and the surrounding wildlands. Our office is in Boise with an executive director, and our programs office is in Missoula, Montana. Each summer we hire student interns. This year we have 8 interns from across the country to help clear trails. We have 10 staff members. We have 16 volunteer projects that are going on throughout the state and Montana to help clear trails. Locally here, the SBFC has cleared the trail to open up the Middle Fork every year for the past 5-6 years. In 2012, we put in the new ramp at Indian Creek. So very active in the area. We have a license plate. And how I met Dan is last year I was in Campbell's Ferry, which is a private inn holding in the Frank Church wilderness, and Dan was a thru-hiker that came through. And we got to know each other that night, and we flew out together so he could visit his family. So I have some information, and if anybody wants to talk to me about it and is interested, we are a membership organization also. We have volunteers if you're ever interested in doing a volunteer project. So with that, Patrick, thank you.
Hello everyone, and once again, thanks for coming to the 4th lecture on this 2019 season. The 2019 lecture series will focus on adventures and stories, experiences we can all have while here in the Sawtooths. Tonight's presenter, Dan Noakes, co-sponsoring tonight is the Selway Bitterroot Frank Church Foundation. Thanks so much. Dan is a 34-year-old McCall local who hiked the Idaho Centennial Trail in the summer of 2018. He is a professional video animator and owner of Motifize. Thank you. After hiking the trail, he published his ICT thru-hike experience with a video series featured on his YouTube channel. Be sure to check it out. Dan will share his insights into taking on such a hike, answer questions from the audience, and present video highlights of his experience. It's my great pleasure to welcome Dan Noakes with his Inside the Idaho Centennial Trail.
Thank you. I'm just going to test this out so you all hear. Yeah, my name is Dan Noakes, and thanks for the nice introduction. I really appreciate that. I'm here with my wife, Michelle, and our son, and yes, his name is Moose. He's a cutie, he's only 4 months old. Nancy is really downplaying what she did at Campbell's Ferry. There was a group of 3 of us who landed at Campbell's Ferry that's probably 300 miles in the trail, and one of my partners, his shoes were completely destroyed, and Nancy actually gave her shoes to my hiking partner, and so he was able to finish the hike. And then, yeah, so she's completely downplaying the help that she gave us. She was a trail angel for sure. So I'm gonna play a video. This presentation is gonna be a mix of videos. You guys can clap, cheer, cry, do whatever, and then I'm gonna talk about the hike as well. So after this first video, I'll introduce myself a little bit more and how I got into hiking and how I found the Idaho Centennial Trail.
Trail is not friendly. It's not your friend. It does not want to be your friend.
guys think? Good? Good. More? Good. So, the Idaho Centennial Trail, I think you could make your own adventure out of it. For me, it was pretty intense. Just depends on your personality, I guess. So, the Idaho Centennial Trail is a trail that spans 900 miles all the way from the Nevada border to Canada. And it crosses through the Sawtooths, the Frank Church, the Selway, so these big wilderness areas. And something kind of unique about Idaho that I really didn't understand was how much federal land encompasses Idaho. With BLM and Forest Service, the combined total is about 62.8%. So I didn't realize how important it was to people, federal lands, but after the hike I was really well aware of how important it was. So we'll just start from the beginning. This is me, and this is my dad. And my dad is the one who introduced me to hiking, and it was always, we would go to the John Muir Wilderness a lot. So, well, this is me and my brothers. I have a sister, but she's not pictured here in the photograph. But he instilled this love of skiing and hiking. He goes scuba diving. He was into skydiving. Just a real, he loves life. I guess he loves adventures, stuff like that. And so my first hike, you can see here that that ultralight was just not existent back in these days. We used to joke and say that we carried a Dutch oven with us because our packs were so heavy. But I think I'm 11 years old here, 11 or 12. I think I'm 11. It's somewhere in California. I think we spent 8 days. That was my introduction to backpacking. This is me. I might be 16 years old, probably 15, I think. This is in California, close to the John Muir Trail. And then this is my dad. I think kind of the same spot, the Eastern Sierras. So that's where we did a lot of hiking. And then this is my son Moose. So kind of the tables have turned, and now I'm a father. And then this is my family. So that's my wife Michelle. That's me on the right, and then in the center that's Moose. So how I got to know the Idaho Centennial Trail is there. Like every year, I want to do a hike, and I looked online. We just moved to Idaho about 1.5 years ago. And I found the Idaho Centennial Trail, and it was 900 miles. I think the highest elevation was just about over 9,000 feet. So it didn't look that hard. I thought, oh, it must be easy. I could just knock this out really quick. And I soon found out that that was not the case at all. That this trail is it's a trail to be respected because of lack of maintenance and whatnot. It can get pretty rough. So this. So yeah, I think my dad instilled this urge to do a thru hike. So part of it was just kind of the fulfilling a mandate that my dad kind of instilled with me. So last year I had the money, the time. I thought, okay, this is the year to do a thru hike. Idaho Centennial Trail was it. Little did I know I was in for more than I could chew. And so I'm going to show you some clips to introduce you guys to what the hike is like. But who here has heard of the Idaho Centennial Trail or has hiked a little bit of it? Raise your hand. I'm just curious, how much have you hiked and where have you hiked? You in the back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually work for BLM and I manage most of the desert section.
Okay, cool. Nice. So you're familiar with that whole section?
Yeah.
Nice. Anybody else willing to volunteer? Yeah.
Ish, little bits from the back border on up.
Cool.
Just like little day hikes and bikes.
Where'd you get to?
Just in and around the Bruno.
Okay. Nice.
No, it looked too daunting.
Yeah. I understand. And where did you go to? Nice. Cool. How far to the Frank did you get?
Places.
Oh, you do? You have a guidebook? Well, okay. Nice. We'll have to talk, I guess, afterwards. That's great. Anybody else? I saw a couple hands. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Good. Well, I'm gonna play. Oh, yes.
I did a little bit right out here, about 4 miles outside of Denver, years ago on a horse, but I mean, it was just so overrun. You still see the signposts on the trees.
Yeah.
But it's really
So was it here in the Sawtooth? Cool, nice. Good. So you guys are familiar with it, you have a passion towards it, so that's really good. I'm going to play a couple clips of where the journey began, and these are just raw clips of the trail. Hold on.
We're going to Canada. That's what I think.
Morning. Starting day one. Show you where we're starting. The iconic Nevada side. This is the first water source we've seen the whole time for the first 50 miles. This is the canyon, Michelle. She's gonna call it quits right here. Bye. I finally made it to Hammett. And I'm so tired. I see you, Michelle. Hey.
So the desert portion is basically that. It's just kind of flat. There's our biggest risk, I guess, was cattle that wanted to charge us. But it's approximately 90 miles until you reach Hammett, and then after that you do the Bennett Hills, and then you reach the beginnings of the Sawtooths. I'm just gonna go straight to the clips of the Sawtooths. It's pretty interesting. So we started end of May. And so we were in the Sawtooths beginning of June and still into May. And this was last year, so there wasn't as much snow as this year, but there was still snow, and the streams got really high, and there was, a lot of snow. So that was probably the most intense part of the Sawtooths for us, was the streams that we had to cross. So I'll play little clips, and then I'll explain to you kind of my thinking for some of the crossings, because they probably look super dumb. Yeah, you're going to look at it and say, you're an idiot for crossing this way. Hold on. Oh, and so to tell you the story too, so Michelle accompanied me for the first 60 miles, and she twisted her leg, or her ankle. So she had to bail at Bruno Lookout. And then there was 3 other people attempting the trail. And this guy, his trail name is Fibonacci. So Fibonacci was my partner for the Sawtooths.
It's not an easy trail. But for me, I can't stop thinking about Michelle. I hope she's okay. The thoughts of me being out on the trail for so long, her at home, it's extremely difficult to manage. And my mind always thinks about that. And then today I was also thinking about, if something happens and I wouldn't be able to finish the trail. I also think, what's the point of this and all that stuff? at the highest point of the ICT right here. That was the gnarliest thing I've never done. I've never done any crossing like that ever in my life. What would you say about it?
That was the gnarliest thing I've ever done. That was stupidly dangerous.
If you do the ICT, you really don't have to do that crossing at all. That was the South Fork of the Payette, and the stream was pretty high, but and so we thought we couldn't cross it right by the trail. And so we went downstream a little bit, and we were looking for a crossing. And I found this log, and I was so excited to cross it, actually. I was thinking, I'm going to be Bear Grylls for my glory moment, and we're going to catch it on film and all this stuff. So when I'm crossing it, I just was completely focused and in the zone, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't the gnarliest thing I've ever done, but it was the gnarliest crossing I've ever done. And so yeah, when you guys do the Idaho Centennial Trail, I honestly, you can just cross right where the trail is. There's no problem. Even if it's high, I think you can still do it. So rest assured. The Sawtooth for us was, I thought it was the prettiest point of the trail. There's a debate. I think some people think kind of the Montana-Idaho border is the prettiest part. I really thought the Sawtooth was the prettiest part of the whole trail. And what's fascinating about this trail is Idaho has its own, sorry for this cutting in and out, but Idaho has its own thru-hike, which is amazing. And thanks to, oh, do you need, you're going to replace that, right? Okay. Yeah, I'll just talk about it. So the amazing thing about Idaho is it has its own thru-hike, and I would say the Sawtooth is kind of like the crown jewel of it. I thought so, at least. I grew up in California where the Sierra Nevadas were very majestic, and I felt like the Sawtooth was very similar to the Sierra Nevadas. Just large peaks, tons of snow, river crossings, and so when we got done, and when the trail passes by the town of Grangine, and there's some hot springs there that you can stay at. When we got done with that section, we thought we had done it. We thought that was the crux of the ICT. We had done it. We're accomplished. And this guy named Clay Jacobson, he had done it years prior, and he met us at Grangine, and he just kind of laughed and was like, "Yeah, just wait till the Frank, and wait till the Selway." And that was exactly like. I had no idea what the Frank was. I had no idea what the Selway, and yeah, I was in for a big treat. So here it's super beautiful. It's rugged, and then when you get to the Frank and Selway, you're in for a whole nother adventure. And I'll show some clips here. And this next clip, I put some. Yeah, go ahead.
Since the trail is so poorly maintained in the Sawtooth, how did you know you were on the trail and not just wandering off in various directions?
So I actually thought the trail was fairly maintained in the Sawtooths. We couldn't find it because of snow a lot of times, but I thought it was pretty maintained. When I headed to the Frank and the Selway, that's when there was a lot of uncleared trail. And I'd be curious to cross the trail now, because has anybody done it now to do a trail report? So I'm in contact with some hikers right now, and I honestly think the Sawtooth is fairly maintained compared to other parts of the trail. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions about the Sawtooth section? And yeah.
So I've encountered the signs at various locations, way down at the south end of the valley and up here at this end.
Yeah.
Does it actually go along the entire length of the Sawtooths, or does it work its way more towards the...
I think you find it all towards the Sawtooths, and the last one you find in the Sawtooths is at, is it Stanley Lake, I think? Yeah, Stanley Lake. That's the last sign until you get to northern Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think there are. I don't know if there's signs in the wilderness areas, but that's the last sign I saw.
Yeah. I've encountered the signs way up at the headwaters.
Yeah.
And I know there's some up in the Vienna area.
Uh-huh.
And then we have seen the signs in Elk Meadow.
Cool.
As well. So it seems like it's
nice. Yeah, this I heard this trail back in the day was all maintained, the whole thing, and it wasn't until recently that it just kind of overgrew with brush. But I know there's organizations like the SBFC which will adopt a portion of the trail and try to maintain it. And I'll show you in this next clip. It's called Marble Creek. Marble Creek is in the Frank Church, and this section of trail has been not abandoned, but it just has not been maintained for a really long time, so it's really difficult to cross. So I'll show you a clip of what it looks like. Yeah, I think 35 times I had to cross it. Or did you count 45 when you did it? I don't know, I just read that. You read it? It's legit. Yeah. It is. You do. So I'll show you, this is kind of, I put scary music because I felt scared the whole time I was in the Frank Church. Here we go.
Marble Creek is not for the faint of heart.
If you got scared, that's how you feel when you go through Marble Creek. You're actually terrified. I kind of want to play the raw footage of Marble Creek. It gives a little bit a raw taste of what the crossings were like, whatnot.
Marble Creek, not for the faint of heart.
Kind of stuff to talk about. It's like impossible to go through. I mean, it's hard.
Crossing upriver. Or bushback.
Yeah, well, the ICT. No, I think they've gotten some good progress, right, Nancy?
Yeah, it got cleared this year.
The whole thing got cleared. Okay. Yeah, so I think due to the high river and whatnot, like maybe the trail was right by me, but I couldn't find it, so I was bushwhacking or going upstream. Downstream, the river was pretty high. If you do it later in the season, I think it's a little bit more tame, but Nancy's saying now it's all clear. Okay. Nice. There is some I think some hikers went through it this year and they said it wasn't that bad. So I don't think it's as bad as when I crossed it, and Clay probably even saw it worse than I did. So yeah. I'm just going to go straight to other clips because it's interesting as you progress into the Frank and then you go to the Selway. There's just lots of blowdowns, and it's a pretty rough trail. So I'm just going to go straight to the Selway section. Oh no. Guys, this is actually, I'm going to play it for you. This is me venting after the Selway.
You think, why am I doing this? And you look forward to the nights when you can relax. That's your reward. It's the night when you can relax. You wake up and you do it all over again. That's the story of this trail. It's pain. You are in pain. This trail is not friendly. It's not your friend. It does not want to be your friend. When you do so many miles, it pounds you. Think every single day, I want to give up. Your feet are swollen, you're cut up, your muscles are aching. The best part of the day is when you can lie down. And then you get up the next morning, you feel a little bit better, try to get the blood flowing in your legs. You still feel sore, you still feel swollen, and you get up and do it anyway. You walk, you're wet, your feet are constantly soaked every single day. They don't dry, your hands get soaked, your whole body gets soaked. You look forward to when that clock ticks away, your miles are done, you can finally say, yes, okay, I can rest. When you feel better, when the pain has diminished some, you want it again, because it's so rewarding to go through the pain and then have the reward of feeling better when you return and do it all over again.
I think I was going a bit crazy when I was doing my hike, talking to myself all the time alone. You're pretty remote in these areas, like the Selway and Frank Church. It's a long ways away from civilization, so like talking to yourself in front of camera, a bit therapeutic, but then kind of crazy at times. Let's see if I can get the clip of the Selway. Here it is. And you'll see kind of all the blowdown conditions.
It was nice. Woke up this morning, had a good camp spot, and then was able to take roads all the way to here. A little tricky getting back on the trail. With the GPS, I was able to find it, and the trail was actually there. Got off trail, somehow. I'm gonna bushwhack to find it. It's over here. Just walk until I find it. It's there. Finally got on the ICT again. Very tiring. Got off trail again. All day today, he's just been just up and down. This is a good example of you don't have a trail, then this is ahead of you. Look at this stuff. Just like complete debris. I see no sign of any trail whatsoever. On the trail again. I just, lots of fun. I'm entering the Selway Bitter Rouge Wilderness right now. Someone told me years ago I'd be hiking 900 miles until I'm get lost. I'm hiking 900 miles. Here I am. Check the trail conditions now. Plow through this stuff. The blowdowns that we talked about. Walking the trail. You just have to pick your path because the trail's good. Full day, I've kept my feet super dry, which is a modern day miracle, and we're gonna keep it going with this log.
The Selway was proving to be very challenging. Finding the trail was almost an impossible task. Burn areas, blowdowns, and forgotten trails all contributed to the rough hiking conditions. You don't really think about anything while hiking like this. All you can think about is navigating and covering distance so you can get out of this mess as soon as possible.
I'm trying to keep in good spirits, but I'm so tired. And I haven't been able to find a trail. I don't think there is a trail.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I've heard some trail, like, I feel kind of like a pansy, actually, because I complain so much doing it. But there's a lady on the trail right now. I think she's a mother of two. She's from Norway, I think she's from Norway. She blew past this section, the Selway. It took me, it was miserable, but I think she was doing 30-plus miles a day. I could only do 20-plus miles a day. So she completely just... she killed it. She did a good job on this section. Yeah.
Did you have a spot in the body so people could
I had an inReach, so yeah, I could send text messages to my wife and whatnot. Yeah, of course. So after the Selway, I would say the Selway is kind of the crux of the trail. The Selway has a lot of blowdowns and unmaintained trails. There's one section right after the Selway that's called Windy Creek, but now that's a completely abandoned trail, so I think people are rerouting a new direction. That was another big not blowdown, unmaintained trail section. But anyway, the trail actually kind of gets easier after the Selway, I thought, until you reach northern Idaho, where the trails are they're actually really good. So I'm going to play the last section, and this is when the whole thing is through and finally made it to Upper Priest Falls.
11th. It's July 11th. Today we're making our way to the end of the Idaho Centennial Trail. We have 4 miles to go until we reach Upper Priest Falls. About 2 miles to go. Idaho Centennial Trail. Total of 900 miles, and it took me 52 days. That's including rest days. It's good to be here. Thank you to my wife, first of all, for supporting me the whole entire way. She was at every resupply. She set up all the resupplies for me. She was there for gear, planning, for everything. She was like the biggest support ever. Thanks to everybody who commented on Facebook, for everybody who subscribed to the YouTube channel. This has been such an adventure. I can't believe I did it. It's cool. It's a good thing. I'm sure I'll have more to say about it, but for now, yeah, that's it.
Thanks. So I would say it's inevitable that this trail, if people continue to help it, it will be one of the best trails in the whole nation. And I don't just say that because I did it. I say it because I think it's true. This trail offers everything that you want in a hike. All the ups, tons of downs. You come out of it a different person. And so if you guys are in the least bit interested to discover this trail, I would say go for it, even if it's a section of it, because it's well worth it. And it's the best way to introduce yourself to what Idaho is. A lot of times we think it's Boise, Twin Falls, all these places that are populated. But like you saw, 62.3% is covered with basically wilderness or, wild places. The Idaho Centennial Trail is wild, and you will experience wildness when you go on it. So, thank you guys. Yeah.
Tell us how you planned your resupply locations and how that went.
Yeah. So first, I outlined where they were. So they were Hammett. Hammett, Stanley, Campbell's Ferry. I'll email you all of it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I looked them up on the website that Clay had, which is actually not functioning right now, so you can't find it. But that was where I got all my resupply information. And the trickiest one was Campbell's Ferry. But it's not that tricky because all you need to do is contract with Arnold Aviation, and then they'll fly it every Wednesday. And then Doug Timms, he's very hiker friendly. He'll take care of your package until you get there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll show it. It does. And let's see, that's not it. Where was this? Here it is. So here's the map. Yeah, so the Idaho Centennial Trail does go around here. I've heard that the plan for that was so that you didn't have to go through wilderness. So if people wanted to bike, they could. I just thought, I was like, oh cool, it goes through the wilderness, this is gnarlier, so I'm going to do this. But I found out that this is totally unmaintained, and that's actually pretty gnarly right now. So, but yeah, I think, Nancy, you might correct me if I'm wrong, I think this part was to divert from the wilderness, and so people could bike it.
So, it's really hard to see. Use your finger and trace
Yeah. So this is the route. So up here, all the way, Sawtooth, Frank, Selway, up here. Right there, yeah. Yeah. We'll go you and then you again. Yeah. Idaho what? Yeah, I think, so again, somebody else who knows more can chime in, but in 1990, there was two people, Sid Tate and Roger Williams, and they were kind of the founders of the trail, and it was part of the Idaho Centennial Celebration to designate this as an official state trail. Yeah. And does anybody else know more?
Well,
Okay. Yeah.
I can attest to a little bit. I've been in this position for 2 years now, and my ICT file is like that thick, and it's all historic maps, and it really shows like the thought process that went into planning this trail. And it, you know, coming from a federal agency, you know, it's a state designated trail, and the state trails coordinator just retired. He was there a long time, Leo, Tennessee.
Right.
So I don't know who came in after him, but so I think when I came in, I didn't really know my obligation as far as maintaining it. So I think there's been some generational knowledge lost with who maintains the trail and what the responsibilities are. Because I had to contact Leo to get the MOU because no one had it. It was just, so a lot of knowledge is, I think, lost on this trail.
Gotcha.
In some regards. So,
yeah, thanks for that.
But it was a big collaboration with the agencies, the states, private landowners. In the Oahe desert section, there's a state or private chunk you go through right there at winter camp.
Yeah, that's true.
And so there's a lot of people that came to the table for this, and it just reading through the old documents, it looks like it was a really neat process they went through. A lot of work put into it.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Good resource. You had a question, then we'll go back.
I just thought maybe you could delineate a little bit more of the Sawtooth portion, because there's so many folks here that do hike the Sawtooth. If you could just delineate a little bit more of where the trail goes. I've been on most all of it, but I wondered if...
Yeah. I'm trying, I think, are you guys familiar with Hunter Transfer Camp at all? No? Me neither, but not really. Okay, Featherville. You guys familiar with Featherville at all? So I would say the Sawtooth really begins in Featherville. And then the trail goes all the way to Ross Peak. Are you guys familiar with that? So Ross Peak, yeah, there's a pass right by Ross Peak. And then it doesn't go on high elevation. It kind of follows the valley floors a little bit, and it goes up some passes. And then it ends at Grand Jean. And then you have to pass. There's one other pass. It's been a year. I need to like study the maps. But then you go over one more pass, and then you're at Stanley Lake. Have you done it? Are you more familiar with it? Like,
well, I'm familiar with a lot of the portions. I just thought
Yeah.
you would describe, but there's just a lot of really good country there, and the Sawtooth NRA has done a good job on the trails, and they use a lot of volunteers to
Yeah.
make the trail as good as it is.
no, yeah, like I said, it was. I would say it's the most beautiful section of the trail. When I was on the trail, when I took my rest days, I told my wife, we've got to come back here in the summer. This is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you're talking about huge peaks that tower, and then these pristine lakes. It's, like I said, I think it's the most beautiful section of the whole trail is the Sawtooth right here. And I think you could do it like in a week or something like that, the whole thing. You don't have to spend a lifetime to do it. So, yeah. Yeah, you had
How do you describe like this trail?
painful. That's what I describe it. Pain. I would say it's, if I describe it in a couple words, so it's challenging, it's beautiful, and it's satisfying. I would say those 3 words can pretty much describe it. Was it worth it? Absolutely. It was worth it. And that's a really good question that I think somebody could actually spend a long time thinking about. Why is this worth it? And I think a lot of times I ask myself, why do we do this stuff? Why do we backpack? Because I honestly think hiking is kind of boring. You're walking and you're in pain so much. All you want to do is go home. Why do we do it? And I think sometimes society is so comfortable. It's so stressful sometimes too, that when we go out into the wilderness, we get a break from it all. And it's a huge rejuvenation to not only our bodies, but I think our souls too. It goes deep. And that's why I think it's worth it. And actually I'm very passionate about it. I think we all need to be in wild places and to feel that. I think part of us belongs there. And people would argue against me, but I'm passionate about it. I think it's important. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go.
So, did you have any significant encounters with wildlife?
Significant encounters with wildlife. I saw wildlife, like a big wolf, bear, moose, elk, but they always just ran away from me. I had a friend who a bear kind of was intimidating him and would charge him and go back, and charge him and go back. But for me, none of that happened. Yeah.
Any upcoming plans?
Upcoming plans? I think moose is my upcoming plan, actually. I do. So there's the 13ers in Idaho, kind of mainly in the Lost River Range. I started a project just to hike all of them and ski all of them. So I think I have like 5 left or something like that. So I'll probably finish that next spring. Hiking plans, not any right now. I wish I did. Yeah. We'll go. Maybe one day. It depends if I make enough money, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'd be fun though. Yeah. My wife ordered it for me on Etsy or something like that. Yeah. That's cool. It's like my favorite t-shirt. I love it. Yeah.
In the spirit of doing it in chunks. So yeah, we've just played around from the Nevada to the Hawaii.
Totally.
But I haven't found out much that from Hammett and through the Bennett Hills and up to Featherville. Is that all roads? What's that like? Tell me about that a little bit.
It's a lot of roads. So Bennett Hills. So from Hammett, basically through the Bennett Hills, there's one section maybe of like a mile or so that's a trail, but then the rest is roads. And then you'll get to Hunter Transfer Camp, and then that is basically all trails all the way to Featherville. And then you're on a trail from there into the Sawtooth.
I think that would make a better kind of bike ride through that section.
Where?
The Bennett Hills up to the transfer camp.
Yeah, I think you could do bike. There's like one section where you have to hop like a barbed wire fence. But that would be too hard.
And then through there, did you find any of the hot springs accessible?
I think, so all the hot springs I think are accessible, and there's a guy named Zoner or something, I don't even know how to spell his name, but he wrote a book about doing the Centennial
Yeah, I got
Yeah. And so honestly, when I was doing the trail, the hot springs were the last thing I wanted to hit because it was so, I just wanted to get done. But like, yeah, I think, check out his book. He actually wrote a detailed book about it.
I've got that one, and it says that like some of them are basically the farmer has hot springs in a trough.
Oh.
Which wouldn't be bad, but
Yeah.
anyway, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, kind of what your mapping device, what media you use for that, because I get a lot of phone calls every spring on, you know, what information, where can I go, and there's just not a lot out there on this trail.
Yeah.
The feds don't have a lot of information. There's Parks and Rec, the State Department has a little bit, but
Yeah.
there's not a solid source of information on this trail.
Yeah, that was the problem we ran into as well. So I took somebody's map, I forgot his name. He uploaded it, and I just downloaded it on my GPS or my Garmin. And then honestly too, I took the map that they have kind of online, and I traced my route, and that was probably a mistake because it led me off trail a lot of times. I heard from 2 other hikers doing it this year. There's 4 people that started the trail this year, and I think 3 are still doing it. I think those 3 will complete it actually. But one of the guys, his name is JT, and he and a guy named Nathan had multiple maps. I think they had 3 maps, and with the combination of the 3 maps, they were able to find the trail in a lot of spots. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, there's no good map.
So one thing, I'd be interested where you got that map. That's a pretty cool map. I've never seen it before.
Clay Jacobson actually has a stack of them like this big.
Really?
Yeah, so you could email him, and he'll hook you up.
And what, I can't remember, I was talking to a hiker, and we were going to work together to make a KMZ file on the trail, and so you could just, me or anyone else, Forest Service, could have that and email it to hikers, and they could put it on there.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. I think somebody does, like, yeah, a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
So someone in the back first, or did you have your hand up? You?
I was going to ask, how many pairs of shoes did you go through?
2.5. 2.5. Marble Creek, actually, the brush was so bad that it stuck in my shoe, like, totally ripped it off. So, yeah. Yeah.
Did you plan rest days, and was it hard to rest?
It was not hard to rest at all. I loved resting. It's not hard to rest. But I planned it probably every week. So yeah, I wasn't as hardcore as like a lot of other people. And I think another interesting fact, for the through hikers, I might have been number like 13 or 15 or something like that. For people who have done the whole thing, like section hiked, maybe I'm number in the 20s, like maybe number 20. There's just not a lot of people who have attempted this trail, so if you want glory, you can still do it. You can still obtain the glory. Was there a hand over here? Or? Well, guys, thank you for, is there any other questions? Thank you guys so much. It's been a great crowd.
Thank you all for being here tonight. We certainly encourage you to visit our museum here. For those of you who are not familiar with the Sawtooth Association, also with the Redfish Lake Center, please stop out and see us up there. Feel free to talk with any of our staff here in the lovely blue shirts you see around. We have several of our board members, if you raise your hands, who are here. So you know Liesel, Terry Clark, our Vice President, Gary Gadwall, our past President, Bernice Hartz, and Ken and Erica over here. So feel free to chat, ask any questions. I want to thank Nancy Feldman for being up, and feel free to visit with any of us. I'm just looking up for next week. We have the Sawtooth Wolf Pack presentation with the Dutchers, JB and Jim.
That program will be held at the community building, so just keep that in mind. It won't be here next week.
So thank you all for being here. We look forward to seeing you in another forum and lecture series. We'd love to have you as a member of the Sawtooth Historical
And if anybody
Association.
wants a brick brochure, I've got the Rapid East.
There we go.